Ho, ho, ho. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, all my relations. We are gathered here on Treaty 1 territory, homeland of the Anishinaabe Nation, homeland of the Nehihyo, the Dene peoples. This is the homeland of the Dakota peoples. It is the homeland and territory of the Métis Nation. Manitoba is also la terre de Riel, la terre de la nation métisse, ici sur les plaines, la terre de naissance de la langue de Molière. This is also Manitoba, is the home to the Inuit peoples. We should never forget that they are also here on this territory. And most importantly, we should never forget this is the home to each and every one of us. So look around. This is our home all here together, and we are in this together. Hey, hey. So, my friends, we have a beautiful election that's coming up, and the importance of this election cannot be underestimated. I was talking to my good friend Rick Lees today. We were at Eco Housing Initiative, and he told me an incredible story. You know, we are talking about the death of someone who's very important, who was the sovereign of Canada, Queen Elizabeth. But there was no less another person who was just as important, a citizen, our fellow citizen, and she died. Unfortunately, she committed suicide by jumping out of the McLaren Hotel from the 5th story. And that is a very sad thing. And the sad thing about that is we don't know that story because the media don't talk about it. It's this untold toll going on in our city around poverty. The McLaren Hotel is essentially a slum of 14 stories right beside City Hall. And this woman's life is important. It's important because it represents what's actually going on in this city. She represents so many people. Someone who is forced to live on a one floor in an old hotel, a very, very rundown hotel, has to share the bathroom with 20, 40 other people. People where they have to wash their dishes in the same bathtub that someone else is bathing in, so you might only bathe once or twice a week. And those are the living conditions of far too many Winnipeggers in our city. And this is why this election is important. It's important for people, for ourselves, because I think each and every one of us, we deserve to have a city where we can be proud of inviting people to here and not have to say here in social media, oh yes, Winnipeg, Jimmy Fallon talking about Winnipeg and its beautiful Garbage Hill. We should be able to be a city where we can raise our children and not have them be afraid to be on the buses, not to have our children be afraid to be out late at night if they don't show up. We should be able to have a city where our friends, my friend Mary, is a little nervous to walk under the bridge just over here. That should not happen in a Canadian city, but it does happen. And we've become numb for too many years. And we try, and politicians keep trying to come up with little solutions, and we say a little bit more police, a little bit more police, more dollars for the police, and this is going to solve the problem. We're going to crack down on crime. No more crime. Let's say it. No more crime. And they make fear in our hearts about our fellow citizens, instead of actually thinking about what we could do to actually make our city a positive and beautiful place for more people. And this is why, in this campaign, the first thing that we started talking about was homelessness, mental health, addictions, making sure we actually address a lot of the problems that are impacting our city, to make sure that we put in place a child-friendly city policy, where all policies of our city are looked through the eyes of the children and how it benefits their long-term development. There was recently, just on Main Street, by Higgins, some teenagers who 8 years ago were only 8 and 7 years old, who made some terrible choices or had some terrible choices thrusted upon them throughout their lives. If we had in place, because this policy, the child-friendly city policy, if we put it in place 8 years ago, maybe what happened on Main Street in Higgins, where individuals were blatantly killed out in the open, wouldn't have happened. We can actually do things though. This is why you're all so important. Because if we work together, we can actually change this city to be a better place for each and every one of us. I believe in us. I know you believe in us because you're here. I know Debbie believes in us. I know she works with children and young adults with FSAD, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. There are far too many people who need good guidance and good people standing with them. And we can do this together. We can make a city. This is why we need new leadership. It's not perhaps about all the individual policies, because everyone out here has great ideas about what we can do. But what we require is leadership at the city hall level that can bring together all levels of government, all citizens, organizations, municipal, provincial, federal government, indigenous governments, community organizations, school board trustees, the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority, bringing together all these important groups in our society and citizens and saying, what can we actually do? And not just going around and checking a box. I don't know how many times, you often see politicians at announcements, press conferences, right? And they're standing at a podium just like this. Well, maybe not just like this. There's no Falcon on there. But they're standing and they announce, oh, we're giving $800,000 for this initiative, and $800,000 for this, or $50,000 or $15,000 for this, and they're checking a box. But what then they do is, they say we've addressed the problem, but then what they want to do is they want to go ahead and say, you know, they want to go and do what it is they really want to do. Address the issues that they're really interested in, which don't benefit each and every one of us. And I think we can get away from that. Now, I could talk for a long time. I know I have probably lots of stories. But if people do ask you, you could, you know, I should have written this out maybe, but you know, I'm just going to speak from the heart, as the elders always tell me to, Melvin and Debbie. Because that's what they say in the Indigenous community, speak from the heart. You could actually make a huge difference. You could talk to your friends. You could come out to a press conference once in a while. I know Tim has been doing that. You could simply come door to door with me when we start. You could donate some funds. If you notice some of my signs here, maybe you could grab that sign there. That young gentleman here could grab a sign and bring it up. This sign actually dates from 2014. And it has at the bottom, it says falcon2014.com. It's a great sign, but we need signs that say robertfalcon.ca from 2022. And we only have about 6 of these. We have 2 big ones. We need signs. Signs cost money. So if you can donate a few dollars, that goes a long way to getting more signs out. Because if we're going to change the city, we need to get the message out. And the message is not me, by the way. The message is us. The message is us. Don't believe for an instant. But if you can donate a bit of dollars, if you can give some of your time, if you can talk to your neighbors, if you're at a family function or with some friends, say, hey, have you followed the Facebook page? Have you been to the Facebook page? Have you promoted what Robert-Falcon Ouellette is doing and the team? Because there is a team. We're all in this team. There's some people doing different things. If you want to volunteer, help coordinate volunteers, you're welcome to do that. If you want to donate food once in a while, we can do that. If you want to come with me for an afternoon and take some photos with me, I go out every day somewhere to an organization. You could be welcome to do that with me. Just call the team up, say, I'd love to volunteer. You know, do something, anything. It would be really helpful. And in that way, you were going to change the city. You could even write the editor of your local newspaper about why you're voting and what's important for your city. There's some people that have done that over there. So, I won't talk too much longer, but I just really want to tell you, I just want to also remind you a little bit of why I think I have some of the leadership capacity to deal with the issues in our city. Many of you know my personal story, but growing up, for those who don't, growing up I come from Red Pheasant Cree Nation, Nehio, in Saskatchewan, which is just outside of Battleford. It's a beautiful community, beautiful rolling hills. Very poor. My father is a residential school survivor. My mother has some mental health challenges. My father was an alcoholic until his passing. That led to some huge challenges in our lives. The alcoholism, because we sometimes didn't have a home over our head. We had to call it camping. My mother would call it camping, May, June, July, August, September, into October. And if you can believe in our city that there are people who are actually homeless, children are homeless. That actually occurs. But it doesn't get us down, because if there are people that love and care and want to push you on, I met people in my life who were always pushing me. My band teacher in high school in grade 8 was pushing me, keep going, Robert, keep going. And what was that important? Why was that important? Is the people around you were pushing you and helping you succeed. And so with that, I was able to eventually graduate from high school, graduate from university. I joined the military. I was able to get 2 master's degrees in the evenings while the military was doing their thing. I was working in the evenings on my degree until 1 o'clock in the morning. I finished a PhD, a doctorate in anthropology. And I have 5 beautiful children, another beautiful child on the way. Phoebe, where's Phoebe? She's somewhere around here. But the reason I tell you that is just to I've seen some amazing leadership in my life in the military, some terrible leadership. I've seen everything that you can imagine. And I've learned each and every day about what works and what doesn't work, how to motivate people, how to get things done, how to do things. Oh, and I forgot, I was a member of parliament, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I was a member of parliament as well, so I do have experience at the federal level. I totally forgot. So hard work is not, I'm not afraid of hard work, but I just want to say that, we can succeed if we have new leadership at the city level, because they can bring together everyone around that table, not partisanship based on you're this color, you're NDP, you're red Liberals, you're the Green Party, but really saying, how do we actually get things done, and thinking and reflecting on it, and then actioning that plan and following up with that plan each and every day. So I will finish with that. Tapuyaki kitwam, hai, hai.
That's it.